It's the early edition of the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's, of course, TJ DeStefano producing the show today. We're with you till 6 o'clock tonight. We'll hit that news at the top of the hour at 6 and then go to the Pirate pregame show right at 6:15. First pitch tonight at 6:40. A good game last night by the Bucks. Unfortunately, they lost. A tough first inning there, of course, for the Pirates pitcher. You always like to see them at least score some runs. They win the night before. What was it, 16-5? And then you don't want to have one of those games you come back and suddenly they can't score a run or get a hit. But, they scored 4 runs in the next game. But, the game, Monday's game, that was bizarre. I bowl on Monday nights. I'm in a league. I've been in it since 1979. And we're watching the game, and it's on a big screen. It's hard to see. And we kept watching those numbers go up, and I'm trying to follow it on my phone. I'm like, are they really scoring this many runs at one point, 15-1? Crazy stats, and Laos getting home run after home run. And I think TJ will probably be able to give me this answer, or Jerome, who's with us today. Did Cruz's hitting streak continue? I don't know if it did or not last night. I was out and about doing stuff, didn't watch the game. But just saw the highlights later. I can't remember if he had a hit, but he's making up for any issues he might have in the field. My gosh, what is he hitting now? 330? And last I saw, you don't see too many guys hitting 330 at all during the season, let alone we're a decent amount in here into this season already, more than 10% into the season. So, well, we're going to bounce around a lot today on topics. As I always try to do, we cover local, national, international topics. So just as soon as we can, we're going to check in with Linda Gradstein, the CBS News correspondent, of course, and she is in Jerusalem, and she's on the line with us right now. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, live from Jerusalem, CBS News reporter and correspondent Linda Gradstein. Linda, thank you very much for joining us today. I wanted to talk to you about the latest from this region, of course, the Strait of Hormuz. The president said they were going to blockade it. What is the latest? We'll start with that topic. What's the latest on that? And Linda, thanks for joining us, by the way.
Sure, my pleasure. So there actually seems to be some possible progress in the Iran talks. So, the threats to blockade the strait I'm sorry, I'm having some problems here.
That's okay. That happens. Live radio.
Oh, yes. The threats to blockade the strait, I think, are mostly threats. They don't seem to be real. I think both sides are kind of trading threats, but I actually think they're moving towards renewing the cease talks, and there's also a possible ceasefire in Lebanon as well.
Yeah, and that's the latest I wanted to get the update on. The president has said he thinks this war will be over in 2 weeks. Of course, he said the Ukraine war would be over the day he got sworn in, but that's a whole other topic. We're going to talk to somebody from Ukraine later in the show. But he's indicated that it should be over shortly. Is there a true ceasefire right now between the U.S. and Iran?
Well, except for this sort of trading threats and blockading the Strait of Hormuz, yes. There are no American or Israeli attacks on Iran. And, for over 40 days until the ceasefire came into effect just over a week ago, we saw daily attacks from both sides. There are no Iranian missiles being fired either at Israel or at the Gulf states. So there does seem to be a ceasefire. It's somewhat shaky. But the sense in Israel, at least, is that it's going to be extended once it runs out next week.
It seems at times we're getting contradictory information from Iran. At one point, they apologized for sending missiles into neighboring countries and not just against U.S. troops or Israel. Then a few days later, they restarted that. Is there an indication of maybe one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing at this point in Iran, or have they now worked out who's running the show, I suppose?
It's been very, very hard to get information out of Iran. There's been an internet blockade. Nobody is making statements. It's not even clear really who's in charge in Iran. The new leader, Mujtaba Khamenei, the son of the assassinated leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, hasn't been heard from, hasn't been seen. The rumors, at least in Israel, are that he was severely wounded and is really not functioning. So it's been very, very not clear exactly what the situation is in Iran, how seriously the ceasefire is being taken. So I think it's really impossible to say what's really going on there.
Linda, you've forgotten more about this stuff than any of us will ever know. So the fact that Hameen hasn't been the fact that he hasn't been seen, is that normal? Or if he could be seen, would he be seen so people know he's in charge and running the country? Or is that something they just don't do?
No, they do. They do those things. I mean, again, there's been this internet blackout in Iran, and that's, seems to be as much towards the Iranian people. You have to remember that in January there were huge anti-government demonstrations in Iran that were put down very, very brutally, and thousands, if not tens of thousands of people were killed. So I think that if he was functioning, they would, show him. At the same time, it does seem to be that the regime is functioning, that there are people negotiating on behalf of Iran, that somebody is making decisions that, despite, everything, especially Israel was very interested in seeing regime change in Iran. That was one of the goals of the war at the very beginning, and that now seems to have been dropped. And so, the biggest concern now is going to be the future of the nuclear material. There's close to 1,000 pounds of highly enriched uranium, the future of Iran's missile program. So there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered.
You're reading my show notes here. That was my next question about the uranium. This is something that can't just be destroyed in a missile strike based on, I'm sure it's thousands of feet underground under a mountain somewhere.
Right.
So it literally would have to be grabbed and taken out, I suppose, to make sure 100%.
Well, either grabbed, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No.
Either grabbed and taken out, or at least there were press reports in Israel today that Russia has offered to take the material, that Iran would transfer it to Russia. That's something, or that Iran itself would somehow make it not usable for a nuclear weapon, at least temporarily. I mean, the reports, at least, are that the United States is demanding a 20-year freeze on uranium enrichment. The Iranians are willing to agree to 5. Israel wants a situation where there will never be any uranium enrichment. So there's also some tensions between the United States and Israel on where this is going. But it's really President Trump calling the shots on this, and it's really whatever he decides it is.
Yeah. Would there be some sort of international monitoring of Russia getting this? Would that be the plan? I mean, Russia can say they're going to get it. Does anybody trust Putin in Russia? So there would be
right.
an
Well,
establishment.
That's the question.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think there would be some monitoring. In other words, it would be part of a broader deal in which, Iran would effectively give up its nuclear program, at least temporarily, and in exchange would get the lifting of sanctions and a lot of money flowing in, and then it would also really strengthen the Iranian regime. So, again, these are all details that need to be worked out, but I assume that both the United States and Israel would insist on it being monitored independently.
I mean, Russia has struggled with the war in Ukraine on just boots on the ground and supplies, that sort of thing. They're not shy of enriched uranium for their own nuclear program, correct? I mean, it's not something they need, is it? They would just be the ones that would take it.
Yes, I don't think that this is something that they need. I think that it would just be, a way of Russia sort of being a player on the international scene, and of this being something that might be more acceptable to Iran, and then, for example, it being destroyed. Or, obviously Iran would like to keep it in its country, but that's something that both the U.S. and Israel say that can't happen in the long term. Although this outline that I've sort of described sounds very much like the former Iranian nuclear deal that the United States pulled out of in 2018.
Yeah. I think it surprises a lot of people, just the sheer size of Iran. You think of Mideast countries being small, a few million people, 90 million people. We're talking about 20% of the size of the U.S. in terms of population. This is not a small Mideastern country at 90 million people.
Yeah, 99 million people. Yes, correct. And in fact, looking at this war, basically all Iran needed to do to win was to survive, which it's obviously done.
Yeah. And as this continues, what is the next step on Strait of Hormuz? Is that, again, 20% of the world's oil goes through that. We've heard that so many times. Although most people couldn't point it out on a map, I suppose, but it's such a critical pipeline there. Would that, again, who would control that after this is over? And from what you've been able to gather in your reporting.
Well, I think that, it's something that Iran would probably continue to control, but without, but they would agree that it will be open. In other words, from what I've heard, he is kind of taking that away from Iran. But again, it would all be part of the deal. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz, until this conflict started at the end of February, was open and ships were moving through. There are some reports that there are various alternatives being considered, but I think, again, these are things that we just don't know. But the idea would be that it would be a temporary ceasefire, like the one that we have now, would be extended, and then during that time there would be negotiations on all of these details.
Yeah. Again, joining us on the afternoon drive show on the WMBS Newsmakers line, live from Jerusalem, CBS News' Linda Gradstein. Linda, you've been a guest with us over the years. I know, obviously, a lot of changes coming at CBS with the shutdown of CBS News Radio. And we want to wish you all the best, you and all your colleagues. I've been in touch with most of you to offer the best. We hate to see this happen. We've been a CBS affiliate here at our station. Our station will be 90 years old next year, family-owned. And from what I can tell, we've been a CBS affiliate for over half a century. And we're sorry to see that go. All the best to you. Sorry to see this happening.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank
Linda.
you.
Stay safe. Linda Gradstein joining us live from Jerusalem. Have a good day. The issue over there and the topic keeps going on and on and on. And here's Linda, who has devoted her life to this sort of reporting from Jerusalem on the latest going on in Iran. It seems like perhaps we might be near the end of this war, which shocked a lot of people. President Trump has made it one of his strong points of ending wars. He's claimed to have ended 8 wars, and suddenly we're in this one. There was a question at one point whether there would be boots on the ground. Most analysts said there would have to be if they truly wanted to take over the country and eliminate the current leadership. But it doesn't look as if that's going to be the case. So coming up, as I mentioned a moment ago, we're going to be checking in another first-time. Well, Linda wasn't a first-time guest, but this will be a first-time guest, Stephen Moore. And there's a couple of Stephen Moores out there. There's one that founded this Club for Growth. This is not that Stephen Moore. This Stephen Moore has founded an organization called the Ukraine Freedom Project, which is assisting Ukraine. He's been in Ukraine since day 5 of that war with Russia, and he's delivered. His organization has delivered over, get this, 250 tons of food, medical supplies, body armor, generators, drones, other aid. And he has spent almost this entire time since this war has begun in Iran. We're going to talk to him, in Ukraine. We're going to talk to him coming up after the break at the bottom of the hour. And then we'll be joining him and talk about the work his organization does live from Ukraine. So we're going to bounce from Jerusalem to Ukraine. We try to do these interviews from all over. But closer to home, we got Penguin playoff hockey coming up for the first time in 4 years. It's great to see that coming back. King Jameson, who is a Penguins beat reporter for the now surviving Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Funny how things change. When I scheduled this interview with King, that's his first name, the Post-Gazette literally had not much time left. But now an organization I've never heard of called the Ventilis Institute, which is a nonprofit group that's committed to local reporting. They have an online newspaper called the Baltimore Banner, which has won a Pulitzer Prize. So that's for local reporting. They have 80 employees, which is darn big for an online paper. Competes with the Baltimore Sun, which is not much the paper it once was. And Dennis Roddy, who is a former reporter and columnist with both the old Pittsburgh Press and the current. He's no longer there. He's now retired. He's with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. We're going to talk to him about his thoughts on is this the best possible option for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, which literally was going to go out of existence very shortly. And this is going to save a lot of jobs. I don't think it's going to save all the jobs, but we're going to talk to him during the 5 o'clock hour. Also, one of our favorite restaurants in town, who's a regular advertiser here on WMBS. There's new owners, co-owners of Maloney's Restaurant. Last week, after Rick Seaback was in the studio here with us, we always go out to dinner after the interview, and we went over to Maloney's and met the two new owners, P.J. Coomer, Coomore, I should say, and Todd Richards are the new co-owners. They literally became the owners as of March 31st, though. They're rookies at being the owners of Maloney's, and it's been around forever and a day. So we're going to talk to the two owners and what their plans are for the restaurant. I think you'll see they're going to keep things going. It's a very popular place, but it was nice meeting them the other day. And if I could recommend something, the chicken romano. Man, is that good. So that's another topic another guest we're going to be talking to today. And, of course, and obviously you heard the news. We reported it here, the death of Phil Scrap Iron Garner, who was Pittsburgh Pirates in the late 70s, early 80s. Of course, he played third base. He was part of the World Series when he recently just passed away of cancer. We're going to talk to Lanny Fratteri about scrap iron, about the anniversary of Hank Aaron breaking the home run record. And we're also going to talk about Pirate baseball as well. We'll be talking to him at 5:35. That'll be our last interview before we hit news at 6. And, of course, Pirate baseball at 6:15. At least the pregame show will be at 6:15. As I mentioned, we're going to hit that CBS News brief coming up here in just a few seconds. When we come back, we're going to have that interview with Stephen Moore, live from Ukraine, his organization, the Ukraine Freedom Project, what they're doing over there to help the Ukrainians in their war with of course, Russia. I'm Doug Saltzman, by the way. Right now, producing the show, TJ DeStefano. Stick around for the news update. We'll be right back.
CBS News Brief. President Trump says the war with Iran is close to over, and Senate Republicans reject a fourth attempt to curb his war powers. GOP Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri.
The president, I think, has taken great care to comply with the war powers statute, which is important. He's within that 60-day window. And my hope is by the time we reach the end of that 60 days, this conflict will be over. Democratic
Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari introduces articles of impeachment against Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth over his handling of the war with Iran. CBS's Torian Small reports.
The likelihood that this goes anywhere is pretty low, especially considering this is a member of the minority party who it's unclear if she got backing.
Severe storms unleash tornadoes and hail across the Midwest and Southern Plains, and more is possible today. This man lives in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
It started like wind really hard and then raining really hard, so I was like, oh, here we go. And then all of a sudden I feel my entire room shake.
CBS News Brief, I'm Jennifer Kuiper.
It's spring, and everything is growing, and Madewell Services is here to help. They offer full lawn care service, including spring cleanups, mulching, landscaping and planting, weekly grass cutting, power washing, and more. Madewell Services also provides professional cleaning services for your home or office, moving in or out service, party cleanups, weekly cleanings, and junk removal. Licensed and insured for peace of mind. Call Madewell Services today at 724-912-1805. That's 724-912-1805 for a free estimate.
Shopping for replacement windows in Fayette County? Metropolitan Window Company elevates your shopping experience.
John, Maggie, and Justin Schmutzer here from Metropolitan Window Company, a family-owned and operated window and door company for over 47 years.
When you choose Metropolitan Window Company, you'll experience personalized knowledge, expertise, and professionalism from our first visit to your home until our craftsmen complete your installation.
We're the window company that people want in their homes, and our exclusive Infinity by Marvin 100% fiberglass windows are the windows people love.
They're built for life. They are the strongest, longest-lasting windows you can buy.
We have a great selection of colors and finishes. We service the entire Fayette County area and will come to your home. Visit us at metropolitanwindows.com or give us a call at 412-655-8411.
PA 1565.
Bright Stripe, Fayette County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals. Locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com. CareerLink.com.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Are delinquent credit cards, medical bills, and personal loans stressing you out? Are you unable to catch up? Are the debt collection calls just too much? If yes, then call Zebley Law at 724-439-9200. Zebley Law provides free in-person consultations. Then, using our decades of experience, we recommend a plan for relief. Before hiring a debt relief company or an out-of-town bankruptcy firm, call the local law firm serving Fayette, Washington, and Greene counties since 2001. Call Zebley Law at 724-439-9200.
Warm weather means you'll be spending more time outside. So enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customers guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
It's the Afternoon Drive Show. I'm Doug Saltzman. We got the whole crew here. I saw Bill Madden there, who, by the way, told me that O'Neal Cruz broke his hitting streak last night. 12 games, not bad. And I still think he's sitting either, I think, in the low 300s. And aren't too many major leaguers that hit 300 games, even 300 batting averages, even this short into the season. But, yeah, that ended last night. Pirates lost 5-4. They play again tonight. First pitch at 6:40, pregame at 6:15 after the 6 o'clock news tonight. And I'll be on air with you till that time, till 6 o'clock this evening. Nick Barczyk will be in a little bit later. And Jerome Schell's working the front desk, as we say around here. Greeting folks as they come into the studio. I want to thank Linda Gradstein for joining us just as we came out of the gates there. She was live from Jerusalem, giving us the latest on the war in Iran, the Strait of Hormuz. You name it, all the topics over there. It looks like that might be winding down. Let's hope that is the case. We don't need America being involved, in my opinion, in another war at this time. We've got enough to deal with around the world. One of which, of course, is the war in Ukraine, which is off the top front pages. I'm not sure what page is hitting these days, but it still continues between Russia and Ukraine. There's an organization called Ukraine Freedom Project. And we're going to talk to its founder, Stephen Moore. He has been in Ukraine since day 5 of that war, and he's been there almost the entire time, helping the Ukrainian people, even the Ukrainian military. He's done quite a project there. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, live from Ukraine, again, the founder of Ukraine Freedom Project, Stephen Moore. Steve, thank you very much for joining us, sir. How are you?
Hey, great to be with you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to you.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pleasure to talk to you. And I'm obviously, in doing my show prep here, learning about your organization, 250 tons of food, medical supplies, body armor, generators, drones, and other aid. You're just not showing up with donuts, although the Red Cross does a good job at times. But the impact that your organization has, and you've been, I understand, in the country almost straight through since day 5 of this war. What prompted your involvement that quick? When you think, we've talked to a lot of analysts about this war from the very beginning, including CBS News military analysts, and the Russian soldiers were told when this war began that they should bring their dress uniforms with them because there was going to be a victory parade within a month. Hasn't exactly gone as Putin has planned, has it?
No, listen, if I can tell one thing to your listeners there in Pittsburgh, Putin is a loser. Putin has, look, as you point out, they thought this was going to be a 3-day special military operation. And that was 4 years ago. And at the time, Russia was thought to be the second most powerful military in the world. And the Ukrainians have beat them back. So, think about back in 2003, you may be old enough to remember the Iraq War. When George W. Bush went in, he went in 2003, and if he'd gone back to the American people in 2007 after 4 years in Iraq and said, we've taken 20% of Iraq and we've gotten 1.3 million casualties. Now, how would that have been greeted by the American people? Bush would have been run out of office. They would have been storming the White House. And, Putin is an autocrat, so he doesn't have to necessarily worry about that sort of thing. But, this is not a winning war for Putin. The Ukrainians right now have the ability to reach into Russia with homemade weapons and they've taken out about 40% of the Russian ability to export oil right now. They've taken out the loading docks that allow them to export oil for sale, because Russia is a gas station with an army, and if you cut off their gas revenue, the army is going to wither pretty quickly. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
Very nice of you to ask whether I'm old enough to remember that war. Appreciate that. I'm 62, so I was a few years away from being drafted into the Vietnam War. So I thank you for the compliment. I must have a young-sounding voice. When you think that old saying, if you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it. You think Russia would have learned from invading Afghanistan back in, what was it, 79, 80, and that did not go too well for them either. And there was a time when Marshal Stalin would say, by whatever means necessary, and the millions upon millions of soldiers they lost in World War II, they don't seem to have changed their way of fighting a war. It's almost as if, they're not holding the line like back in the days of the Revolutionary War when soldiers would walk arm to arm with each other into a battle. But they don't seem to, as Stalin didn't, Putin doesn't seem to care much about clever strategy either, does he?
No, the Russian strategy hasn't changed in 400 years. They send humans into the war machine. They put them into the meat grinder. And, I have Ukrainian friends who at the front, many of them, and, some of them have told me that I can't kill any more Russians because sometimes what they do is they send them out with shovels to dig trenches for the people with rifles to come afterwards. And if you're Ukrainian, you've got to kill these people, because if you don't, they're going to dig trenches and more people are going to come to kill you. And, I've killed so many people that I just can't do it anymore. And so that is the level of barbarity of the Russians. Putin has no value for human life. And look, we're in a global war right now. Iran and Ukraine are two fronts in the same war. China has said that by 2027 they want to be able to go into Taiwan. And North Korea is, just last week they were shooting missiles that are capable of having nuclear weapons on top of them. So we're in a very unstable world. We're in a global war right now, and the interesting thing about Iran is that Russia is helping Iran. Iran sent you've heard of these Shahed drones. It probably gets bandied about. You get these drones that were Iranian designed. The Russians licensed the technology and have used them to strike inside Ukraine 57,000 times. 57,000 of these Shahed Iranian-designed drones going into Ukraine to kill civilians. And they have improved them. They have made them faster, quieter, given them a longer range and given them a capability of carrying a heavier payload. And they have sent that newly modified drone back to Iran. So Iran is using those drones to kill American servicemen. And so let me repeat that. Putin is sending drones to Iran to kill Americans.
It's something, when you think about this war and how quick they thought it would be, and of all crazy things, I was at a comedy show, and of course, the Ukrainian leader was a comedian at one point. And the comic at this show I was at said, I didn't know we were so good at this stuff, being a comedian himself.
Exactly.
And he said, I hope I don't get drafted in to do something like this, because let me know. He said, let me tell you, I'm not equipped for this sort of thing. And do you think that was almost sort of the thinking by the hawks in the Kremlin, thinking, well, we're taking on a guy who's a comedian. How's this? There's no way they're going to win this thing.
Well, the last guy that faced down the Russians successfully starred in a movie called Bedtime for Bonzo. I'm talking about Ronald Reagan, right?
Of course, yeah.
So so it seems like the Russians have a weakness against comedians and actors. So clearly the Russians miscalculated on this, and so people ask me about corruption in Ukraine, and I'm just like, the Ukrainians for 4 years have held the second most powerful military in the world at bay. They have driven them back. They've incurred 1.3 million Russian casualties. They've taken out 40% of the Black Sea Fleet. They have taken out 12,000 tanks. So that costs money. So, how could they do that? So how could they be spending it all on yachts and villas and still be winning, right? You have to be able, if you're doing what the Ukrainians are doing, you have to be smart and efficient with your money, because they're taking on the second most powerful military in the world, and they had no choice. The Russians invaded, so yeah.
We were talking with Stephen Moore, founder of the Ukraine Freedom Project. Obviously, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But further on this topic of Russia, you think that they had to turn to North Korea for help? And North Korea it's a dangerous. It's a small country, but it's a dangerous country. And I asked one of our analysts. I said, why would Russia admit publicly that they needed help from North Korea? And they said, well, I'm sure they didn't want to. The analyst said, but North Korea would have insisted on it to prove to the world how important are we as a world leader, in quotes, that Russia needs our help. When you think about that, it had to be humiliating for the Kremlin to admit we need help from another country on this war.
Oh, yeah. Or again, like the Iranian drones that I'm talking about. The Iranians sent drones to the air of the Soviet military might, to the Russians. Why do the Iranians have to send them weapons, but that's what happened. So in going back to the North Koreans, there's another reason beyond that. It's because Kim Jong-un wants to go into South Korea, and none of his military has ever fought in a war. So he sent tens of thousands of soldiers into Russia to go into Ukraine. And those soldiers a lot of them have been chewed up, but the ones that made it out, have knowledge that the United States of America does not have. So the North Koreans are now highly skilled at the new way of drone warfare. Drone warfare has changed the world. We don't have anyone in Ukraine that is learning that. There's the Americans in Ukraine are all retired military, and I talked to a lot of them. I'm actually really good friends with I was talking today to an Army Ranger, Green Beret Army Ranger, and who fought in Ukraine after retiring from the Army. And he's just like, look, I don't care if you're a Delta operator, I don't care if you're a Navy SEAL, you are not ready for the kind of war that's taking place in Ukraine. And who's ready? The Russians are ready. The Chinese are ready. They're designing drones and are getting good at drone warfare. The North Koreans, they're good at drone warfare. The Iranians clearly are good at drone warfare. They're killing our guys with drones. So America is not ready for the kind of war that's being fought in Ukraine, which is the kind of war our adversaries fight.
Right. Steve, tell us how you came about to create this Ukraine Freedom Project. One doesn't get up one morning and say, I think I'm going to move to Ukraine for the next 4 years and help the people. Again, somebody sent me an email at radiosaltzman@gmail.com saying, clarify your comments about the Red Cross. I'm like, I was just joking. Red Cross does fantastic work. That was just a little joke. Don't take it the wrong.
Let me tell you about the Red Cross. The International Committee of the Red Cross, the folks in Geneva, raised a bunch of money off of being in Ukraine, and I was at the front delivering aid. There was no Red Cross boxes at the front. Yeah. The Red Cross was sitting about an hour from the border in a place called Lviv. So, your local Red Cross may be doing really good work, but the International Committee of the Red Cross, is falling really short.
Yeah.
So you're on target there.
How did this come about? 250 tons, not pounds, tons of food, medical supplies, body armor, generators. I mean, you're not just in there helping civilians, you're helping the military as well.
Yeah, so we're giving non-lethal equipment to the military as well, Starlinks, generators, laptops, that sort of thing. And so, and frankly, it's because of, I went there just because I had a lot of Ukrainian friends, and I thought, like everyone else, the Russians were going to roll through in 3 weeks. And I wanted to help my friends get out. I spent nearly 2 years in Iraq at the beginning of that war. So I had the skills to help. I thought I would. And then, what happened is that someone asked me to get medicine to Kyiv to help with war wounded. And I was like, I don't want to go to the front. Call the Red Cross. And they're like, who? And sure enough, so I put together a truckload of medical supplies to take to the front in Kyiv when it was surrounded on 3 sides by Russians. And the international community, the UN, the Red Cross, really fell short. And so I just started saying, someone needs to do something about this, and it's going to be me. And so I started, I started bringing medicine to the front. I started, helping everywhere I could. And so, and I've stayed there. Now what we're doing primarily is, Americans, conservatives, Republicans are not getting particularly good information about what's happening in Ukraine. So we're doing a lot of that. We're trying to get firsthand experience. From what we're seeing at the front, we're trying to help Americans better understand what's happening in Ukraine.
Yeah. Now, your organization is known as an NGO, a non-governmental organization. It's a non-profit. How can folks help you? Where can they go? Websites, etc.
Yeah, we're at UkraineFreedomProject.org. That's Ukraine, the country Ukraine, freedom, like what everyone in America loves, and project, because it's a project. We're trying to, Ukraine is a country that is fighting for their freedom. And unlike anything we've seen probably since, the Revolutionary War. And so, that's something I admire. Vladimir Putin's evil. The Russians are super bad people. They're killing Christians. They are kidnapping children in mass. And so the Ukraine Freedom Project is trying to help make it stop.
Yeah, there are heroes out there in the world. That term's always overused. But an organization such as yours and you putting this organization together makes you a hero in my eyes. So
you're too kind.
Well, we really do appreciate your joining us today, Stephen, and we'd like to have you back on. And I want to thank the folks who helped put this interview together. I've been a staff for a long time. I always like to thank the staff who put things together. So I appreciate the work.
Listen, call me anytime. Would love to be with you anytime.
All right. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks so much. You have a
great day.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Stephen Moore
thanks.
joining us here on the WMBS Newsmakers line here on a beautiful Wednesday out there. 83 degrees right now outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. 3:52 p.m. with you till 6 p.m. tonight when we go to the news, then Pirate Baseball. That first pitch is at 5:40. Again, UkraineFreedomProject.org. That interview, it's amazing at times. We had a little problem. You could hear some static when we were talking to Linda Gradstein earlier from CBS, who's in Jerusalem. Stephen Moore, that phone call was so clear you'd think he was in the next room. He's in Ukraine and doing yeoman's work. UkraineFreedomProject.org. It's a nonprofit. It's not a governmental organization. If you want to get more information and give them a hand, what great work they do. We're going to take a break here, folks, and we're going to wrap up the first hour. I'm Doug Saltzman. TJ DeStefano is producing the show. Then Nick will be in after the 4 o'clock news. We're going to talk, coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk Penguin hockey. We're going to talk to the new owners of Maloney's Restaurant in downtown Uniontown. We're going to talk to Lanny Fratteri about Pirate Baseball and the great Phil Garner. Dennis Roddy's going to join us talking about the sale of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. It's going to stay running, folks. They're going to keep publishing. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown.
There are over $5.8 million in $100 prizes in the new $100 blowout scratch-off game from the Pennsylvania Lottery. And we at WMBS want to give you a chance to get your hands on some of it. Now, through April 20th, just be the 6th caller to 724-438-4593 when you hear and you'll win 6 of those $5 tickets. What would you do with an extra $100 today? Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
Wind, hail, sudden leaks. When your roof takes a beating, we're here for you at AR Roofing and Remodeling. We're a locally and veteran-owned contractor available 24/7 for repairs. As an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor, we get the job done right. Call 724-550-3064 or visit arremodels.com for your free estimate.
Chris Parker Jr. This warm weather makes me think about a vacation getaway.
The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event is still on. You can get away not only in a brand new Hyundai, you'll get away with low APR financing and our great selection of over 150 new cars in stock.
I'm listening.
How about a new 26 Tucson with 0% financing for 60 months, plus no payment for 90 days? There are fantastic lease specials too. Lease an Elantra SE for $189 per month, or 26 Kona SE for $229 per month. And there's a great lease incentive of up to $5,500 on the all-wheel drive 26 Tucson Limited.
Plus Hyundai Owner Assurance, America's Best Warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection, and 5-year unlimited miles roadside assistance with every new Hyundai purchased. Autoland Hyundai, 25 East Fayette Street, downtown Uniontown, or visit their website, autolandhyundai.com.
And remember, you'll always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
Career Link is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit Career Link and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact Career Link at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
WMBS.
That's Stevie bringing us out of the break here on a beautiful Tuesday out there. Boy, I tell you, 83 degrees, way above normal for this time of year. 83 degrees outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. I'm Doug Saltzman. Coming up, national news followed by local, regional, and statewide news with TJ DeStefano. Then Nick Barczyk will be in studio. Coming up at 4:15, we're going to check in with Penguins beat reporter King Jameson. We haven't talked to him before. We're going to talk to him about Penguin playoff hockey coming up. I get they don't have the exact time when these games are going to be. It'd be interesting if there was a game being played in Pittsburgh during the draft, if there wasn't enough chaos in downtown Pittsburgh and the North Shore. That coming up as well, of course, next week. We're going to talk to Rocky Blyer next week, his thoughts on the draft being in Pittsburgh. Then we're going to talk to the new owners of Maloney's Restaurant on Main Street in downtown Uniontown. Of course, you always hear their ads here on WMBS. I happened to meet PJ and Todd last week when Rick Seaback and I stopped over there for dinner after he was on the show. Again, go with the chicken Romano, folks. Man, is that good. And you'll have plenty for a second meal. Great restaurant. New owners. We're going to talk to them coming up at about 5:35 today. And as I mentioned before, Dennis Roddy's going to join us, former columnist and reporter for the Old Pittsburgh Press and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Talk to him about the new ownership. Lanny Fratteri is going to join us, longtime Pirates announcer, professor emeritus at Westminster College, and current announcer of WVU baseball. We're going to talk to him about Phil Garner, the Hank Aaron, the anniversary of Hank Aaron hitting the home run record, and we'll talk about the Pirates season. We're going to talk about an old theme song the Pirates had and ask him whatever became of that. All that coming up on your local station at WMBS Uniontown. Glad you can join us today, folks. Check us out, of course, on Facebook. We're always on Facebook Live for the show. Check out the station's website, WMBS590.com. Send me an email at radiosaltzman@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, folks. CBS News is next.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by DEA Take Back Day.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. A jury in New York has found that concert giant Live Nation and its Ticketmaster subsidiary engaged in an anti-competitive monopoly. The latest from CBS's Jake Rosen.
The decision came less than a week after Live Nation's antitrust trial kicked off in a New York courtroom. Not all the states, however, involved in the suit agreed to strike that deal between the Justice Department and Live Nation, and New York Attorney General Letitia James criticized the settlement and vowed to keep litigating, saying that in a statement that the agreement, quote, failed to address the monopoly at the center of the case. More than 24 states moved forward with the lawsuit, resulting in the verdict on Wednesday.
President Trump says the Iran war is close to over, but the status of the ceasefire remains in question. CBS's Linda Kenyon with more.
The current ceasefire is scheduled to end on April 22nd. As for reports it will be extended,
that is not true.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt also says official high-level in-person talks have not yet been scheduled.
Nothing is official until you hear it from us here at the White House.
Adding if there are in-person talks, they will likely continue in Islamabad with Pakistan mediating.
The president feels it's important to continue to streamline this communication through the Pakistanis.
Pakistan's army chief is presently in Tehran in the latest effort to ease the tensions between the U.S. and Iran. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
More extreme weather has hammered the Midwest, including multiple tornadoes. And as CBS's Usher Qureshi reports from Sussex, Wisconsin.
The big concern now is what's next. Forecasters warn another round of severe weather could develop later today with the same threats: damaging winds, large hail, and the possibility of more tornadoes. Now, people here are preparing. They're clearing their yards, they're charging devices, and making sure they have a safe place to go if warnings are issued.
A super typhoon has hit U.S. islands in the Pacific Ocean. Cars have been flipped over and tin roofs have been ripped away from the remote northern Mariana Islands. There have been no reports of deaths. Authorities in the U.S. territory are just beginning to assess the damage left behind by super typhoon Sinlaku. The storm also battered the U.S. territory of Guam with tropical force winds and heavy rain. At least 9 people are killed in a middle school shooting in southern Turkey. A teacher and 8 students died in the attack. It is the second school attack in Turkey this week. The BBC's Orla Guerin has more from Istanbul.
Officials say the attacker entered 2 classrooms where the students were as young as 10 and started shooting at random.
13 people are being treated in the hospital. U.S. stocks hit an all-time high and roar back from losses caused by the Iran war as the S&P 500 continues.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 25th. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com.
Uniontown Liquidation Outlet wants to thank you for borrowing our special pay at 2025. Come shop with us for the lowest prices around. We have toys, home goods, tools, electronics, and much more. We offer layaway, so stop in today and ask us how it works. We are located inside the Uniontown Mall.
The Uniontown Liquidation Outlet. Visit us on Facebook, Uniontown Liquidation Outlet.
Hope to see you soon.
Tune in to WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:20 for Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, certified financial planner, investment advisory representative, syndicated columnist, and author, as he addresses such income issues as planning for retirement, future health care expenses, avoiding financial pitfalls, and much more. That's Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, Saturday mornings at 8:20 right here on WMBS, where Gary Boatman welcomes your calls at 724-243-3075. That's 724-243-3075.
Look at the world's movers and shakers. CBS's Jim Krasula explains.
Time is out with its list of the 100 most influential people worldwide. Kate Matthews is an editorial director for Time.
What the Time 100 is a way of looking at the events and the people that have shaped the past year, the newsmakers that are making the innovation and news events possible.
Time's most influential people list is comprised of those involved in world affairs, politics, business, sports, and the media. Jim Krasula, CBS News.
The Walt Disney Company has begun layoffs expected to lead to 1,000 job cuts across the company. Josh D'Amaro has announced broader layoffs following a move in January to consolidate Disney's marketing division. He succeeded Bob Iger as chief executive in February. The cuts are expected to fall across the Burbank, California-based company's traditional TV businesses, including ESPN, as well as its movie studio. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
Good afternoon. It's 4:05, sunny and 85 outside the Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Helping those who are injured, our team is ready to fight for you. Your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS. I'm TJ DeStefano. Sports and weather will follow the news. A man is facing charges after allegedly robbing a Pizza Hut delivery driver in Fayette County. The driver was delivering to Pearl Street in Brownsville at 11 a.m. on February 22nd and noticed the residence was abandoned. The driver said he walked back to his car when Emil Calloway approached him and pulled out a pistol from his pocket and demanded money. The driver told police he gave Calloway the money. Calloway faces charges of aggravated assault and robbery. Pollen counts are currently at medium to high levels across all of western Pennsylvania. That's according to pollen.com, which released a map of pollen levels in each state. Those who suffer from allergies are encouraged to stay indoors with air conditioning on until the pollen levels decrease in the coming weeks. It's also advised that those who suffer from allergies dust their homes, wash sheets regularly, and shower after being outdoors. Health officials say allergy seasons are getting longer and worse due to weather and climate change. Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday is warning sports fans to watch for scams as they buy tickets and merchandise tied to the NBA and NHL playoffs. The alert comes as the Penguins and Flyers prepare to meet in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Philadelphia 76ers open NBA play-in tournament this weekend. Sunday said that scammers often take advantage of high-demand events by selling fake tickets or unlicensed merchandise. He urged fans to slow down before making purchases. Sellers who request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency are considered red flags when making online purchases. Credit cards should be used when finalizing these transactions as they offer better fraud protection. Tax day is here, and Tammy Trujillo has more.
Tax returns must be postmarked or electronically filed by the end of the day to avoid a late file penalty. If you're not ready, you can file for a 6-month filing extension. But tax experts caution that's not an extension to pay the IRS if you owe. You still have to pay the estimated tax you owe by midnight tonight to avoid interest and late payment penalties. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
WMBS time is 4:08. Sports and weather are next.
So what's the difference between the sheds I see in the parking lot of the big box stores and a professionally built and installed JDM structure shed from Ultimate Structures? Good question. First, the manufacturer, JDM Structures, is one of the premier shed builders in business for 34 years. They use composite materials for the exterior with baked-on paint. This ensures you'll have an extended lifespan for your shed. And listen to this. 75% of Ultimate Structures orders are personally designed to satisfy the customer's needs. That's right. And the turnaround time for a custom designed shed is no longer than just buying a stock shed. Compare the roof designs, the superior piano door hinges, the quality of the wall panels, and personal customer service. You'll see. Come to the Mega Lot on Route 51 South, just outside Perryopolis. You need a shed? We can help. We design what you desire. Ultimate Structures.
In sports, the Pirates host the Washington Nationals tonight at PNC Park, Game 3 of the series. Mason Montgomery will be on the mound for the Bucs, who are 10-7. And we'll have the game here on WMBS. Pregame is 6:15, first pitch at 6:40. Penguins, they're getting ready for the playoffs. They take on the Philadelphia Flyers in the first round. Dates and times not yet released. The Penguins will have home ice advantage in games 1 and 2.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
The Weather Watch is being brought to you by Kelly Clark. See Kelly at Autoland Hyundai, downtown Uniontown. Call Kelly direct at 724-208-5281. That's 724-208-5281. Or online at kellyclarksells.com. She'll make you a good deal. And now the weather.
Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, 66. Cloudy tomorrow, some showers in the afternoon, 83. And partly cloudy on Friday, 77. Partly cloudy Saturday, some afternoon showers, 84. Morning showers Sunday, then cloudy and 53. Right now, it's sunny and 85 outside the Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios at 4:10 on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm TJ DeStefano. And up next, we have hour 2 of the afternoon drive show with Doug Saltzman here on WMBS.
The Weather Watch was brought to you by Kelly Clark. See Kelly at Autoland Hyundai, downtown Uniontown. Call Kelly direct at 724-208-5281. That's 724-208-5281. Or online at kellyclarksells.com. She'll make you a good deal.
Take the fact book.
Caring for an aging parent or a loved one with medical needs? FACT, Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation, can help. Seniors 65 and older ride free on our fixed routes. People with disabilities get discounted shared rides. And if your loved one has medical assistance, their trips to doctors or treatment are covered under the shared ride program. Give them safe, reliable independence and yourself peace of mind. Call 724-628-RIDE or visit factbus.com. FACT, your community, your connection.
It's gorgeous outside, which means it's time to get to Bittersweet Cafe of Farmington. From their incredible daily lunch specials featuring farm-to-table fresh ingredients to their refreshing drinks, frozen treats, smoothies, and iced tea, Bittersweet Cafe has something for everyone. Enjoy this beautiful spot nestled in the Laurel Highland Mountains, just a few miles outside of Ohiopyle on Farmington-Ohiopyle Road. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram. Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
We have your gifts to celebrate love, birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions, or all the above. Things that go bling, earring pendants and rings, all types of handbags, crossbodies, concealed carry, and slings, Western Southwest, boots, hats, and more, silver Zapata jewelry, fun fashion turquoise. It's a staple in our store. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, located in the rear of the State Farm Building, 724-557-6184. We value your shopping experience here with us at Strap, so come on in, sit a spell, enjoy a refreshment, and a bag of peanuts. Strap, 724-557-6184. We're open Tuesday to Friday, 11 to 5, and Saturdays, 10 to 3. Convenient street parking right in front of our shop. You're sure to adore us, and you'll love our prices. Shop small, shop Strap.
Hour 2 of the afternoon drive show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. You know, I want to thank Nick for the superb work he's doing over there now producing the show. I asked him to turn on the mic, and he turned on the mic.
That's right. That's
Excellent.
what they pay me.
Excellent.
I reluctantly turned on the mic.
Yeah, and I'm sure our listeners feel the same way.
Well, absolutely.
Why did Nick turn on the mic?
Oh, my goodness. Dead air would have been preferable. No, Doug, we want to hear what you have to say. A lot of stuff going on in the world.
There is. Nick, we try to bounce around the world, speaking of which. So in a few moments, we're going to talk to Pittsburgh, a guest in Pittsburgh. Before that, we were talking to a guest, one in Jerusalem, one in Ukraine. So, we're gonna bounce around today. Coming up, a new guest on the show, beat reporter for the Pittsburgh Penguins. You know, the Pens are in the playoffs. We haven't said that in a while. 4 years since we've said that, Nick. Nick's talking into a dead microphone over there, but that's okay. We'll talk to you live on the air. Again, his name, King Jameson, joining us from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, which is still going to be the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And they've been bought by a nonprofit organization called the Ventolis Institute. I think I'm saying that right. They are a Pulitzer Prize-winning media organization. And we'll be talking to Dennis Roddy about that. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line from the still being published into the future Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Penguins beat reporter, I should say, King Jameson. King, first time you've been on our show, and we've never interviewed anybody named King either. So this is a big day here. How are you doing today?
Well, you know, it's not as intimidating as it might sound. As my mom likes to tell me, it's a name, not a title. And, you know, as much as I'd like it to be one, I'm afraid it was just her maiden name, but at least people tend to remember it.
Yeah, you're not going to forget that. And what do moms know, for heaven's sakes? Maybe it is a title. You know, God knows my mom. I'd do whatever she said, frankly. I'm still scared of my mom, for heaven's sakes, and she's been gone for 15 years. So, yeah, if I don't hold the door for a woman going somewhere, I know I'm going to hear from mom somehow, one way or the other. So we're not here to talk to you about the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, but it's still going to be publishing. It's not clear yet what's going to happen to the entire staff. I hope things work out for you, and we'll just leave it at that. But good news, certainly for media in southwestern Pennsylvania, to have the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette going to continue under new ownership next month. But more important to that, come on now, Penguins haven't been in the playoffs for 4 years. They're back in the playoffs. It's not, maybe you have that breaking news. We haven't gotten the word yet. We're a Penguins affiliate as to when that first game will be. Has that come across your desk yet as to when this first playoff game is going to take place?
It has not, and I'm certainly anxiously awaiting it as well because there's a lot of scheduling to work out on everybody's end, but there are NHL games all the way through Thursday night, even though the Pens and Flyers both finished up their seasons last night. So it may be a little bit until we get that finalized schedule.
Yeah, the NHL schedule, the playoff schedule is always very interesting. If two teams are done early and other teams are done, they'll move up the games. So you might think, I'm ready to go to a game. It could they've changed game times and game days coming. So you never know quite what's going to happen when it comes to the NHL games. And it's going to be a glorious moment if there's a game during the NFL draft, a home game at the same time. If there wasn't enough chaos in downtown Pittsburgh and the North Shore, add this one into it. But the Pittsburgh will take chaos when it comes to the Penguins being back in the playoffs. They lost the last 3 games, but frankly, they haven't exactly been playing their A team, have they?
No, not even close. And, you know, I think there's some consternation online about the 3 losses going into the playoffs, then I would say it really doesn't mean much at all, given the lineups they were rolling out. I mean, the lineup that they played last night in St. Louis, it's possible that less than half of the skaters who took the ice are going to play in the postseason. So definitely not a reflection of where the team is at. I think the only thing that might be slightly concerning from the final few games is just that the goaltending wasn't great from either Stuart Skinner or Artur Shilov's last night. But Skinner had played well Sunday, and Washington has largely been good recently. So, I think it's also hard to tell with the goalie when they're playing behind a team that was as limited as the Pens were on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was my next question. How much can you judge a goalie when he's got guys in front of him who aren't usually there, or at least not there as much as they were in the last few games? And let me ask a question, too. They went with multiple people having upper body injuries, lower body injuries, mid-body injuries. We always say an upper body injury in the NHL could be a decapitation, for heaven's sakes. But why do they choose to say that instead of just saying we're scratching them for tonight? Or is that a rule that you can't rest somebody just to rest them?
Doug, I wish I had a better answer for you. My understanding is, yes, there are recall rules involved in terms of the number of emergency recalls they had available to bring up those players from the AHL. And so there had to be some element of injury to make those recalls, legal and necessary. So I think that had part to do with it. And I think the truth is they also did have a lot of players who were nursing minor injuries down the stretch of the season. I think that's to be expected when you have one of the oldest rosters in the NHL. I don't think anybody could possibly doubt that Sidney Crosby was a little banged up near the end of the year, given all that he went through just to get back on the ice after his Olympic injury. And the same thing for the amount of time Evgeny Malkin missed throughout the year. So I don't think they had to stretch too far. But, yeah, I do believe that there were rules involved that made them want to designate it or even need to designate those as injuries rather than just rest, even though I think we all know they all would have been playing had it been the postseason.
King, how do they match up with the Flyers in this playoff series? I mean, it's obviously a giant rivalry, and you followed the league. I mean, what will this first-round series look like with the Penguins?
Yeah, I've been diving into a little bit more today, and it's interesting. This Flyers team was an afterthought at the Olympic break. They were 8 points out of a playoff spot. They were sixth in the division. For weeks, we were kind of zeroing in on, okay, are the Pens going to play the Blue Jackets or the Islanders or maybe the Capitals? And even then, the Flyers were sort of not part of the picture. But they're a different team over the past few weeks, and I think that makes them a dangerous opponent. That they've been one of the best teams in the NHL since the Olympic break. They're really good defensively. They've got an excellent goalie in Dan Vladar, and they've got a lot of just sort of youthful exuberance offensively. A lot of guys who've never been in the postseason, but they're very talented offensive playmakers. So I think the Pens are the better team if you look across the whole of the season. They have infinitely more playoff experience, but it's hard to feel confident against a team that's playing so well down the stretch that really appears to be a different team than they were earlier in the season.
Talking with King Jemison of the still existing Pittsburgh Post-Gazette newspaper. You cover the Penguins both on the road and at home?
I go to a lot of the road games, yeah. I was not at the final game in St. Louis, but traveled to most of them since I took over the beat in January. So it was a great experience for me. Got to go to some places I'd never been to before. But, yeah, it was. You learn a lot from being on the road. I think that's definitely where you can get your best work done.
Yeah, I've talked to folks who've over the years have covered teams on the road. They get up in the morning sometimes and they forget what city they're in. You tend to bounce around quite a bit all the time doing that. Yeah, you're talking about away and home games. And your analysis, how much does home ice advantage help? I'm always amazed when you look at the records of a baseball team at home versus away. The Pirate record last year was incredibly better at home. And you don't have that screaming crowd or like at a football game or an exploding crowd when a goal was scored at a hockey game. So in your thoughts, how important is that home ice advantage for a playoff round? You get one extra game.
Well, I think that's huge, certainly. It's just there's going to be so much energy in Pittsburgh for that game one. I think that the Pens are not an inexperienced team that might struggle to channel that energy. I think they're going to have no problem turning that environment into a really inspired performance, particularly given the rest that they will have had coming in. Overall this season, the Pens were pretty much the same home and away. In fact, they had a slightly better record on the road. So I think that this could be a series in which both teams split the other team's home games in those games 1 and 2 and games 3 and 4 that will be in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia respectively. But I think it's still huge and certainly something that the Pens probably would not have done the resting of players that they did had they not only secured a playoff spot but also that home ice advantage. I think that's what made the last few games truly meaningless.
And we're obviously looking ahead to this first-round series, but looking ahead into the offseason even next year, King, what does this mean for the veterans on this team? Sid, Malkin, Letang, I mean, what does this team look like going into next year? Will everyone be back? What will the configuration of the Penguins look like, do you think?
Well, it's definitely going to be a different team because there are a whole lot of players on this squad that are going to be unrestricted free agents kind of no matter what happens. The biggest one of those is Evgeny Malkin, and that has been probably the biggest story beyond just the Pens' return to the playoffs has been Malkin's contract and the fact that he doesn't have one for next year, even though he's made it very clear that he wants one. And so I think that's very much an open question as to whether Kyle Dubas is going to resign Evgeny Malkin. I think he's played well enough to earn it, but he's also going to be 40 years old next year. And so I think the organization would probably be hesitant to feel like they can count on a guy who not only is going to be 40 but also has dealt with injuries this year. But I think that's the biggest question. Crosby and Letang are almost certain to be back. Some of the bigger questions are Anthony Mantha, the leading goal scorer this year. He's an unrestricted free agent. Igor Chinakhov is a restricted free agent, so I'm sure they'll be looking to get him signed to an extension as good as he's been since that trade. But yeah, it's going to be a different team, but the Pens have a lot of cap space and a lot of draft picks to work with, so they have the ability to, potentially even be better next year, though so much has gone right to get them to this point this season.
Yeah, they really have been a surprise this season. Earlier this hockey season, I said on this show that Malkin seems to have gotten out of his system to take stupid penalties. And then, of course, he gets suspended for 5 games for taking a really stupid penalty. You just can't do that in the playoffs. Is there a concern did he learn his lesson? I don't know. I feel like I'm talking about a 12-year-old. He guy's 40. But, I thought he was done with stuff like that. And apparently he was not.
Yeah, and it was just such terrible timing, right? Like, that was right when Sidney Crosby was injured. Malkin, traditionally across his career, has played really well with Crosby out, has picked up the slack. And when you needed to, instead, he showed himself the door. I think that there was perhaps, and I'm just doing, some psychoanalysis from afar. He didn't say this, but I wonder if there was some frustration about the contract situation that sort of came out in that moment against Buffalo back in early March. I think that there was certainly some unresolved feelings coming out there. But he was very remorseful afterwards, and I think acknowledged it was a big mistake. And we haven't seen anything remotely close to that since, though a Pens-Flyers series is likely to bring the biggest emotions out of everybody.
Yeah, I mean, this is a classic rivalry, of course, over the years. At one point, they wanted to take him out of back when the divisions were, and then they put them back in, realizing that wasn't the smartest idea for the NHL. But again, this will start up, and it'll be nice to have playoff hockey back. It's hard to believe we went how many years in a row, Nick? 17 years in a row with playoff hockey? They set the record, right? The longest.
Our guest would know more.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why am I turning to Nick? We'll turn to you, King.
Who cares what I know?
Well, I don't care if I insult you, Nick. I don't want to start a guess, for heaven's sake.
Obviously.
But
I think it was 16 straight years. But if you look at Crosby and Malkin's career, they've played. It's been 17 times over the course of their careers. But yeah, it was 16 straight from 2007 to 2022. So playoff hockey was pretty much as reliable a part of spring as the flowers blooming here, and then it was gone for 3 years. And so I can't really imagine the anticipation that's been built up over these past few years for the return of playoff hockey, probably some point this weekend.
Yeah, there was always that concern. If Sid said, I had a good run. We did make the playoffs. I think I'm going to call it quits. And each year he stuck around, man. I think he just likes what he does. You don't hear him saying stupid things. You don't hear him blaming teammates. Doesn't talk about management or the coaches. So I've said it so many times. Everybody said it. We're so lucky to have Sid, such a even keel guy, being captain of this team. And we'll see how far. Nobody thought they'd make the playoffs this year. I don't know if you'd call them a Cinderella team, but they certainly have been a surprise in this 25-26 season. That's for sure. King Jemison joining us from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Penguins beat writer. Check him out on X at King_Jemison, Jemison. King, thanks for joining us today. We'd like to talk to you when you're on the road and see how these. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk to you not just in the first round, but maybe a second round as well. We'll see what happens.
Well, thank you so much, Doug. That would certainly be fun. I appreciate you having me.
Okay, King. Thank you very much. King
Thanks,
Jemison joining us on the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, which is sticking around.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're going to talk,
That's very good.
as I've said several times, Dennis Roddy, who is a former reporter and columnist with both the Pittsburgh Press and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He's going to join us today at 5:15 to get his analysis on the new ownership of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, a nonprofit group called the Ventolis Institute, founded by a former member of the Maryland House of Delegates, which is their version of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. They publish the Baltimore Banner, which is an online newspaper with 80 employees. That's a lot of employees for a online paper, and they are a Pulitzer Prize winner for local reporting. And obviously that's what they're going to focus on at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. So Dennis Roddy will join us. Lanny Fratteri is going to join us. Very good evening to have Lanny with us, of course. We'll talk to him at 5:35 today about the anniversary of Hank Aaron setting the home run record, the death and the career, rather, of Scrap Iron, Phil Garner. We're going to talk to him about that as well. And, of course, about the Pirates season as a whole, as it's going right now. The new owners of Maloney's Restaurant are going to join us next on the Afternoon Drive Show. That's Nick. I'm Doug. Stick around. We're going to talk to PJ and Todd coming up.
CBS News Brief. A jury in New York finds that concert giant Live Nation and Ticketmaster engaged in an anti-competitive monopoly. Loyola Law School professor Lori Levinson.
We can expect that when the jury finally takes a look at the damages here, it could be a huge amount.
The Dow closed down, but the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ have ended at records as markets bet on a U.S.-Iran accord. More talks aimed at ending the war could come this weekend, according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
The Pakistanis have been incredible mediators throughout this process, and we really appreciate their friendship and their efforts to bring this deal to a close. So they are the only mediator in this negotiation.
On this tax day, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says many people have taken advantage of new tax breaks.
The biggest, one of those that Americans have taken is no tax on overtime. And it's the American way. If you want to work longer hours, you get to keep more of your money.
CBS News Brief, I'm Jennifer Kuiper.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, a part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors, where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items, including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
The Beatles! It's Beatles versus Stones, the greatest debate in rock history. Who's better, the Beatles or the Rolling Stones? Nationally touring tributes, Abbey Road and Satisfaction come to the Metropolitan on Sunday, April 19th. The Beatles versus the Rolling Stones. Tickets available at morgantownmet.com. Beatles vs. Stones, April 19th at the Metropolitan Theater. If you didn't see them live in the 60s, here's your second chance.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home. Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture. Take the road to your perfect home.
Benjamin F. Goodwin, voted Fayette County's best attorney, and the entire award-winning Goodwin Como Law team have been trusted by your friends and neighbors for the past 20 years. From estate planning and administration to personal injury, workers' compensation, family law, and criminal defense, they deliver dedicated, personalized representation. With 2 convenient offices in Uniontown and Bell Vernon. Visit GoodwinComo.com or call them at 724-438-1616 for your free initial consultation. Goodwin Como, righting wrongs, securing justice.
Warm weather means you'll be spending more time outside. So enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customers guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
WMBS.
You know, I don't know what else you could have going on in this region right now. You have the Pirates with a winning streak, tied for first place, I saw after last night. The Penguins are in the playoffs the first time in 4 years. Is it really 500,000 to 600,000 people are going to be flooding the city, the North Shore, the Point?
It's too many, Doug. That's way too many.
For the NFL draft. So 2 of the biggest events in the history of this region have happened in the last 3 years. What was the other one, Nick?
That's a great question.
They say
You're
it brought
stumping me.
300,000 people to the city.
Picklesburg, was that it?
No. Taylor Swift.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
150,000 alone for the concerts, then another 100,000 just hanging out.
That's right. Well, hopefully we do a better job cleaning up after the draft than after some of those concerts, like the Kenny Chesney concert.
And I think I'm still paying for those tickets I bought for my daughters. Yeah.
Oh, Dad paid for that.
Yeah,
That's
they
amazing.
called me one day. They were together, and they said, "Dad, do you have a Capital One credit card?" And I said, "Yes." "Why?" And they started screaming in the background because they could order tickets early.
Oh my God!
I never looked at the.
Those Taylor Swift fans. They're
they're
it's like
lunatics.
she's a deity. They
God love them,
follow
man.
her.
I tell you. So that's good. So if you don't want all that, just go to a local restaurant and relax. Now, how's that for a transition?
That's a beautiful segue, Doug.
Exactly.
You're very good at radio. You're
well
learning.
done? Oh, I'm good at sucking up to our advertisers.
Oh,
I mean, absolutely. Why not?
Hey,
so last week,
you know where your bread's buttered.
when WQED TV's Rick Seaback was in studio, it's a tradition. We take off after the show, and we leave Nick to run the place after that. And we go out to dinner, and we went to what is one of our favorite places in town. We're not just making that up.
On my recommendation, by the way.
On your recommendation, by the way.
Yeah.
That's right. Heading over to Maloney's Restaurant, which has been in this area for quite a long time.
Right.
And as March 31st of this year, there are 2 new co-owners. PJ Kumar and Todd Richards are the new owners of new co-owners of Maloney's Restaurant. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line are I'm sorry, I said TJ. PJ and Todd. PJ and Todd, congratulations, by the way, on running a new restaurant. I guess you didn't want to relax at this point in your life because there's nothing really relaxing about running a restaurant. We'll start with you, PJ. It's a little tense at times, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, thank you very much for the congratulations, and certainly Nick for the recommendation. We're glad that you guys came in, and it's certainly been a whirlwind, kind of like drinking from a fire hose, but it's been a whole lot of fun and everything that we thought we'd expect and more.
Yeah. And Todd, this idea of grabbing your own restaurant, there's one thing to open a restaurant that's so-so, and you're not sure what the community thinks of it. You're taking over a restaurant that people are probably thinking, they better not change anything. We love this place. But obviously, new ownerships, they do make changes, they make improvements, and but you're inheriting. I don't think inheriting. You bought you can't say it's a legend. I don't know if that applies to a restaurant, but man, it's a local favorite, isn't it, Todd?
It sure is, and all day long, lunch, dinner. That's exactly the first thing asked. Are you changing anything? and that's what everybody wants to know. And, we did come in here, and it has been special, man. It has been special. I've been in the restaurant business for a while, and I've never walked into something like this. And I'm not even sure I expected it until, the past couple of weeks we've been in here.
Yeah, when we've gone there with Rick Seaback, and of course, he spent a good part of it before he started eating, taking pictures of all the food, which he then puts out on social media. And immediately I hear from, I don't know how many people, so you had dinner tonight with Rick Seaback. Yeah. And so it's nice to have that sort of make that sort of an impression on a local guy who's well known. And you saw how many people were coming up to say hello to Rick and myself while we were at the restaurant that night. And obviously you can do with the restaurant what you want, but I like the chicken romano just the way it is. So if you could just leave that alone, that would be fine. And I had enough that I had another meal out of it, for heaven's sake. So it's a great place.
The portions are big.
Great place to come. So what made you decide, and we'll head back to PJ for a moment, what made you decide to go into the restaurant business? Was it something you'd done before? Had you been in management? I know, PJ, you're local, and Todd, you are too, I think, right? You're
I
in
am.
this region.
Yes.
So, PJ, what made you decide suddenly at this point, let's try running a restaurant?
Well, I think the nail in the coffin was my best friend of my adult life. Todd kind of twisted my arm, and we had an opportunity to take over while the former owners were transitioning, and we came together. And the decision was pretty easy. But I grew up in and around this business. I've never owned a restaurant before, although I've worked in business administration management for the bulk of my career. So. It was a welcome challenge and something that I thought we could have fun with. There's a little bit of heritage from my upbringing that we get to kind of live out here in the restaurant. But Todd's my best friend, and this is a community staple. And more than anything, we really just want to carry the torch and build off of the great foundation that's been laid before us.
And when you walk into that restaurant, especially on the bar side, I say it's retro. Many years ago, my daughters, the first time we took them there, now they're in their 20s, but we went to a musical down at the State Theater, and I can't remember if we had dinner before or after the show. And we walked in there, and they said, "Dad, this reminds me of one of those restaurants at Disney," because it is retro. And when you see what it's like in there, when you walk in there and you see the photos on the wall and the people who have been there, and that's a very unique thing about it. And it wasn't designed as retro. It's just how it was built originally. Right, Todd?
Yes, that's right. And people don't want to see that change either. And something we've learned, those pictures, stories there, and we've been hearing some of them. It's been pretty cool. There's just so much history and so many things we've been learning in the last couple of weeks about this place that we didn't know. But yet people love that bar side, man.
And you go on the other side, there's another world. You're in a great cafe. I don't know how else to describe it. It's one of those places. In Uniontown, we're not a big town, but we're pretty lucky to have some very nice family-owned restaurants. We won't mention the competition, of course, but we're very fortunate here to have those types. And usually in smaller towns, smaller cities, you have those family-owned restaurants. And I think that's what's sort of, especially what makes Maloney's unique. When you take a look at statistics on business models, restaurants are those that fail the most often. And I don't see that happening with Maloney's, but it's not a simple business to get into, is it? And whose turn is it now? Let's go back to PJ.
No, I really just working with the lender and trying to establish, that whole loan process was daunting in and of itself. But a lot of the hard work, frankly, this being my first go at it, a lot of the hard work, most all of the hard work has been done. As we already kind of mentioned, the Georgianas did a fantastic job here, and this dates back to 1950. And we've got a ready-made clientele, people that know and love this place, and it's up to Todd and I to make sure that it substantially remains unchanged. And going forward, the goal is going to be minor tweaks to maybe improve that customer experience. But overall, this Maloney's is going to stay the same. same Maloney's that the community has come to know and love. But no, it hasn't been easy, and there's a lot of work ahead of us.
Yeah, people don't like change. I was working of all things several years ago. I was customer service manager at a car dealership, and the owners, the family ownership, bought a small dealership out in the country, and I happened to be up there to do something, and I had to go buy some things for the dealership, and I was wearing a shirt that said the new owner's names on it, and multiple people come up to me and say, "Wait, you're not changing that place. What's going on? My son-in-law works there. Wait, my nephew works there." Well, I'm like, "Why did I wear this shirt out in public? I should have hid it." But yeah, people want things as they are, and it's the devil sometimes. In fact, I don't imply there's any devils involved in Maloney's restaurant. But when you think about that sort of transition, and I think people may have thought the Maloney family still owns the restaurant, but I guess you guys are the, Todd, is that correct, the fourth owners? And how long has the restaurant been around?
We are the fourth owners in 75 years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's impressive. I mean, we're talking about going back to the 1950s, a restaurant that opened shortly after World War II, for heaven's sakes. Yeah, there aren't too many restaurants who can make that claim. Usually when you go through multiple ownerships, that's when things aren't going correctly. But this place seems to have improved over the years. And so what's the next step for Maloney's? Back to you, PJ. What are we looking at here as to what you'd like to see, what you're able to say over the air?
Yeah, right now we're just digging in. We're digging in and kind of settling in as best we can to really understand how the previous ownership operated and maintained the restaurant, and getting to know the customer base. Todd and I feel compelled to make sure that the people that work here understand that we're very much invested in this, and we're willing to work right along their side. And it's important to us as well that the community understands that we're here for the long haul, and so grateful for their continued patronage. I think for the foreseeable future, that's just it. Doug is really getting to more intimately understand what it is that we have. And going forward, the goal being maybe some minor operational tweaks just to improve the overall customer experience. But, ultimately it is a great establishment, and our goal is to pay honor to that.
Yeah. Of course, you were smart enough not to buy the restaurant during the pandemic, and there was such incredible turnover at restaurants during the pandemic, and so much turnover, frankly, throughout various industries during the pandemic. And that's always a big issue, hiring and firing and training. I remember talking to somebody years ago who went into restaurant management, and he said, "I thought I was going to be managing a restaurant, not constantly training people." But the personnel issue, Todd, and that idea of keeping you, and especially sometimes, homegrown and family-owned establishments are famous for having people stay forever. We've had Jim Morgan here at our station for, what are we up to, Nick? Pushing 50 years? He's been almost 50 years he's been with our station. He's now part-time. And this radio station next year will be 90 years old, family-owned the entire time. So that personnel issue is as much as important part of running a restaurant as anything, I suppose. Right, Todd?
Yeah, it is. Like I said, I've been involved in several different restaurants, but Doug, we walked into a place that has staff that's been here 40 years, 32 years, 20 years. Multiple. The head cook, 16 years. They've done a great job here. I'm telling you, when I say I've never walked into a place so established, and it really, they made it easy. And all the staff have been so welcoming and accepting and receptive to us coming in, as well as the customers, and just very accepting and supportive. But, it can be challenging. It's always something. But, my experience in the restaurants, I truly, genuinely care about not just the customers, but my staff. And I've been able to build families in there, and there's already one here, and we're just trying to come in and be a part of it. And it's usually not as challenging, when that's the atmosphere.
Yeah. And talk to any manager or owner, and they say what they're doing in that industry is the easy part. Dealing with the people is what's more important than anything, and can be tougher than anything at times. But yeah, when you come into a place and they've had people who've been there for decades, literally. Yeah, that's sort of fascinating to me.
Yeah, and that's why they, we're hearing the last couple of weeks. They love the food and the atmosphere, but they're here for the staff. You wouldn't believe it. It's all night long. You hear it. They come to spend time with the staff, who's become family.
So you're at day. If I look at this, you took over officially on March 31st. Today's the 15th. Or you're up to 16 days. It probably seems like you've been doing it for 16 months, PJ. At this point.
Yeah, it's definitely been a grind for sure. But the good Lord's given us both a lot of energy for this. Todd's working long, hard hours as well, and we're just so excited to be here, Doug. It's a complete honor. So there's a lot of gas left in the tank, but it's definitely been a grind.
Yeah. Well, you want to get a lot of sleep at night, and PJ, as a father myself, I got to tell you, get ready. You're an expectant father. And they don't always sleep through the night. So first off, congratulations on your impending doom. I mean, your impending child.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that very much. We're really excited, man.
I have 4 daughters, and I've been a father now for 30 years. So if you need any advice, ask anybody else, because at this point, I still haven't a clue what I'm doing.
10-4.
Yeah, find somebody else. I couldn't give you advice on that. I always joke. I had a wife, now an ex-wife, 4 daughters. I know less about women than anybody in the world. So yeah, I wouldn't be a good advice for that one. Well, PJ Kumar and Todd Richards, the new co-owners of Maloney's Restaurant in downtown Uniontown on Main Street, home of the hot peppers, Nick. Right? We've said that line so many times. Hot stuffed banana peppers and the ads you guys have done. That's one business supporting another. And, it's we'll be back, that's for sure. And Rick said, next time I come down, we're going to Maloney's again. Rick Seaback. So
that's awesome. Fantastic.
Nice to have a local celebrity in the restaurant
support.
to have Rick stop by. And maybe he'll be there more. And that's something coming up down in the future we can't talk about right now, but we'll see what becomes of that. But, hey, guys, thanks so much. Congratulations. You have a good evening.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. PJ Kumar and Todd Richards, the new owners of Maloney's Restaurant. God love you, man. Taking over a restaurant. There's one thing taking over a restaurant, that's so-so. This place is classic.
It's
and
wonderful.
I would say that even if they weren't advertising on our station.
Absolutely, without saying their name. That restaurant's wonderful. We can't say their name, but no. We can mention Maloney's. They've been on the air with us forever.
Yeah, and it is. You walk into that bar area. Because we went in, and there were no seats at the booths for Rick Seaback and myself. And he said, well, let's sit at the bar.
They didn't have your name tags?
No, they didn't have that for us there.
They didn't have candles lit?
No, they did not do that. But, oh, man, that did
I
mention the chicken Romano?
Yeah, it's delicious.
I think it's fat-free. Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Not quite.
Calorie-free.
Boy, is it good. We're going to take a break here and wrap up our number 2. We're with you till 6 o'clock tonight. I'm Doug. That's Nick. Stick around.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30, and Saturdays, 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Braggs a call today, 724-439-3228, for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323. 439-2323. 439-2323.
Hello, Uniontown and Fayette County. This is Jeff Monzo from the Quattrini Law Group. Injured in an auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident? We provide a free consultation at our Uniontown or Somerset offices. We deal with insurance companies every day, all day. Do you need guidance with your medical treatment? We can help you find the right medical providers. Quattrini's Law Group's clients can concentrate on what really matters, getting the medical treatment you need to recover after an automobile, truck, or motorcycle collision. The consultation in our Uniontown or Somerset office is free. Call Quattrini Law Group today at 1-888-534-6016. Again, that's 1-888-534-6016. Or you can Google us at Quattrini Law Group.
That sneeze was in a different zip code, and I still felt the germs.
Relax, Randy. I went to Montgomery Medical. I'm fully shielded.
Like a flu shot?
Flu, COVID, the works. If you haven't caught up on your shots yet, they'll get you sorted in minutes. It's basically a suit of armor, but with less clanking. Then do the double shot. After Montgomery Medical, head over to Renew You Medispa. I got their immunity IV drip.
A Medispa?
You relax, you hydrate, and you give your immune system a VIP upgrade.
Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine.
WMBS.
So the question Nick raised with me is, of course, that's Kashmir from Led Zeppelin bringing us out of the break. What would our listeners rather hear?
Kashmir.
Me talk for 6 minutes with Nick or play Kashmir for 6 minutes?
Well, definitely the latter, but there are other stations. I'm assuming if you want to listen to classic rock, you can
But
listen all day.
not at this time when I'm on the air.
Absolutely not. I mean, Doug Saltzman's on, then the ball game tonight, Pirates. Then after that, you can listen to whatever station.
Yeah,
you
I was
want.
preempted yesterday because we had high school baseball, Pirate baseball, and you told me you were surprised they got the game in. There was no, and of course, I live in Allegheny County. There was no rain at all up there.
No, there wasn't.
Until much later in the evening.
Yeah, the game was delayed a little bit, about 15 minutes, Pirate game.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we got all the games in a WMBS triple header.
Was and then Penguin hockey last night.
If there was another game we could have put on, we would have.
What was the final score of the Penguin game? 7-6?
7-5.
7-5.
But they're not making the playoffs. The Penguins are.
Yeah, and have we seen? I hate when I can't think of someone's name. The player from the Caps.
Ovechkin.
Is he going to play again?
Is it his last game, or was it the other night?
Yeah,
Maybe.
they didn't make the playoffs.
No.
And
greatest goal scorer ever, though, if he does hang it up.
Yeah, when you think about 15 years ago, you could say, "I'll bet you $1 million that someone will beat Gretzky's records."
Yeah.
And somebody would have taken that bet.
Absolutely. The odds were not for anyone breaking that record, but records are made to be broken. Yeah. Ovechkin's had an amazing run.
There was an interesting stat I saw. It popped up on the screen, and I love people laugh. I take pictures of things on TV screens about how many different goalies that Ovechkin and Sid have scored against over the years, and the numbers are. Now that I want to find it, I can't find it.
Of course, when you need it, you can't find it.
Yeah, where is it?
Randomly when you have no interest in it.
Recently deleted. Let's see if I can pull up this stat.
Oh God!
I did have the stat.
Live on the air. We had a 4-minute commercial break. You could have been.
I could have been doing it then, but now. Oh, here it is.
But you were BSing because you put the BS in.
Most goalies, not goals. Most goalies scored on in NHL history, including the playoffs.
All right.
So how many different goalies do you think Sidney Crosby has scored against? Let's see if you can get within 25.
Oh, my goodness. I don't want to seem really stupid if the number's way off, which it will be, either too high or too low. How many goalies has Sidney Crosby scored on in the
within
NHL?
25. We'll give you a big leeway here.
130.
Not bad. 171
Really?
different goalies.
171?
Yes.
Good Lord.
And then Patrick Marleau,
You're for San Jose, right?
right, 178.
This is all time.
Yes. Yelmer Yager's tied with him
Oh, yeah.
at 178. And Alex Ovechkin has scored against 189 different goalies in his career.
You get a 200. I mean,
I don't know if I would have thought there were that many goalies.
That's an amazing number. You play
Each team
long
has
enough.
2.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of years. That's a lot.
So yeah, Sydney has scored against 171 different goalies.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, if somebody, I would have said
And he still
like
looks amazing.
70.
He looks like he's in his 20s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Who was said? I heard somebody say that they saw Sidney Crosby once talking to Jim Leland. And, of course, Sidney
I
Crosby.
think I told you this, that he got second.
Oh, you told me that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or that he was.
Oh, you told me this story.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, no. I mean, I've heard it from people
and
there.
Sydney is so incredibly careful about his health and all that. Somebody said he probably got emphysema from just talking to Jim Leland.
Right, he lectured Jim Leland on the dangers of smoking.
Of smoking.
Yeah, I heard that from somebody.
Right.
No, I didn't come up with it, but I told you I thought that.
Yeah.
I saw that, and that was funny. And Jim Leland's great, but he does like his cigs.
Yeah, I mean, we were sitting at a game one time, and sitting next to each other were Jim Leland and Chuck Tanner.
Oh, my gosh.
Who were both, they were scouting the game for different teams. I think Leland did it, I think, for St. Louis.
Detroit. He managed
Detroit. Okay, and then I forget who Chuck Tanner was doing it for. And, of course, he was smoking, which you're not allowed to do at a game, but no one's going to tell Jim Leland, put your cigarette out, Jim.
No.
Neither a fan nor an usher.
No, absolutely not. Jim Leland, gets his way, as he should. He had an amazing run.
Yeah, he really has. I've met him a couple of times. He's just a decent, down-to-earth, normal guy. Of all the places I was at, do you remember, I don't know if it's open anymore. There was a outlet out in Somerset called the Georgetown Outlet. And I pull in the parking lot, and who pulls in next to me? Chuck Tanner. I'm like, what are the chances he's coming here shopping at the outlets?
Then you started yelling at him about decisions he made in
Yeah.
79.
Why did you take Blyleven out so often? Yeah.
I'm sure that's just what he wants to hear.
That's what he wants to hear from some schmo in a
idiot
parking
yelling
lot
at
in an
him.
outlet.
Oh, he's a World Series winning manager.
Right. Yeah, he. It was frustrating at times when he would take pictures out. I mean, he had fights with Blyleven, would scream at him, although he complained all the time. And somebody once put a piece of tape over his locker name so it said Cry-Levin.
Oh, that's a good
somebody
one.
from his own team. Yeah, when your own team's mocking your behavior.
Right. Our guest next hour will know all about this. I'm sure he has some good Bird by 11 stories.
And we're going to talk to Laney Futuri in the next hour. And also, we're going to talk to Dennis Roddy now about the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is going to have a new owner in a few weeks. It's good to see them. They will be up and operating. You don't want to lose any media, considering that's what we do for a living. CBS News is next on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. If you're a concert goer, it may be music to your ears. A jury has found Live Nation and Ticketmaster guilty of acting as a monopoly. CBS's Allison Keyes with more.
Live Nation Entertainment owns, operates, and has an equity interest in hundreds of venues, and its subsidiary Ticketmaster is considered to be the world's largest ticket seller for live events. Legal analyst Lori Levinson says,
We can expect that when the jury finally takes a look at the damages here, it could be a huge amount.
The jury found that Ticketmaster overcharged customers just under $2 per ticket in 22 states. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
President Trump has insisted again the war with Iran is nearly over, but